Let's sew up a French seam. This is a way to finish off your edges in a really beautiful way on woven fabrics. Since we can't just leave them, they will fray. I'm going to put our fabric wrong sides together and sew a smaller 1/4 inch seam allowance. Now these seam allowances that I'm going to give you are for Patterns for Pirates patterns with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. If your seam allowance on your pattern isn't 1/2 inch, you'll have to do a little math to do what seam allowances that you can do for a French seam. Now you're going to trim just a scant bit off. I actually usually use pinking shears for this, but I didn't have them within reach, and so I just used some regular scissors, but I do prefer pinking shears on this step. Just trim a scant bit off, not much, especially with our very small seam allowance here. I'm going to take it to the iron and I'm going to press to the left, to the right, and then on this side I'm going to press my seam nice and open. Okay, so nice and pressed. We're going to do it right sides together now, making sure that this seam is nice and pressed. You can press it this way at the iron as well. You want to make sure we're not taking any extra on that fold. Really work it with your iron. And we're just going to take another 1/4 inch seam allowance, which equals our entire 1/2 inch seam allowance that we have on the pattern piece already. And now that we have it right sides together, that raw edge is sandwiched between our two pieces of fabric. Our 1/4 inch seam allowance should be a little bit wider than what we had before, since we trimmed it a scant bit. So now all of our raw edges are hidden inside, and we have a beautiful seam allowance, a beautiful right side. Again, you're going to press this on the front, press it to the left, to the right on the back, and I'm going to press it to the wearer's left side, since that's what I always do. And now you can be completely done. Make sure you press that nice and open. I'm going to top stitch mine, but that's just optional. You can leave it just like this. It's a really nice, beautiful finish. No raw edges. It's not going to fray on you. You can top stitch from either side. I'm going to top stitch from the right side on mine, making some breezy overalls here. You can use the French seam anytime you're sewing if you want that really beautiful inside and out. They're really common in wovens, especially more delicate wovens. I'm sewing with a rayon linen, which isn't super delicate, but it is a really loose woven fabric. And so this is just, you know, a few more stitches to help prevent fraying here. There you go. If you guys try out the French seam and you love it, you'll have to let me know. If you have any questions, you can ask me down below. Good luck, y'all.